What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Doug Las Vegas Bets UFC betting show. This week we're going over UFC 325 from down under in Australia with featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski headlining in a rematch against the always dangerous Diego Lopes. Without further ado, let's get into it. For the main event, we have a rematch of a fight we saw less than a year ago with Volk taking on Lopes again. Volk's still one of the sharpest, fastest kickboxers in the game. He does well to put damage on people. He's consistent. He uses his kick and boxing combinations well together. Mixing in the wrestling and his ground and pound is also very damaging. Lopes, on the other side, a well-rounded finisher with real power in his hands that he used to get quick finishes over guys like Pat Sabatini and Sadiq Yusuff back at UFC 300. Also, pretty good submission game. We saw him grab a quick triangle over Gavin Tucker. But he's now gone 5 rounds, twice in a row, coming off that big win over Gian Silva. Dangerous power in his hands. Dropped Volk a couple times. One thing I think we're learning about him, too, is that he's very durable. We saw him finished on the regional scene a couple times, but the shots he was able to take against Volk the first time, and then Gian Silva, the guy has a real chin. As for my pick in this one, with the odds being what they are, I'm taking Diego Lopes this time around. Now, I took Volk the first time, but with it being almost a year later, I asked myself the question, at what point does Lopes beat him? There is going to be a day when Volk is past it so much and Lopes is still in his prime to the point where Lopes beats him, finishes him more often than not. When is that going to be? I think we were pretty close to it last time. We saw Volk get dropped twice. So this time, I'm going to say Diego Lopes gets it done by knockout at plus 350. That's going to be my prop play of the week. So yeah, at these odds, we saw him come so close to the knockout. Volk's getting older. He's more experienced this time around, coming off another knockout. I think at these odds, Lopes to get the KO, you've got 5 rounds of them getting in car crash exchanges for him to land on the older Volkanovski. Next up, let's talk co-main event in the lightweight division. As always exciting veteran Dan Hooker takes on another always exciting fighter in finisher Benoit Saint-Denis. So let's look at Hooker first. Obviously known for his wars going back to the days where he fought Dustin Poirier. He's been a mainstay at the top of the division for a while now. Recently put together a 3-fight win streak before losing to Arman Saruki in his last fight after a long layoff. I thought he looked okay in that fight. His defensive grappling looked sharper than I think he gets credit for because the fight IQ issue of jumping guillotine twice against a guy Charles Oliveira couldn't guillotine. So he kind of took himself down. Where I think he looked worse in that fight than I expected was the striking, where Sarukian looked like he had a big speed advantage, was able to outbox him, landed a few big shots early in that one. So I worry about him slowing down on the feet, although I think his defensive grappling might be less of a weak point than many are noting right now. Benoit Saint-Denis on the other side, he comes in with a lot of momentum, having finished his last 3 fights. You guys who followed me for a while know we cashed on him in the last 2, with him being the prop play of the week by knockout against Beneil Dariush, and him being the underdog of the week against Mauricio Ruffy. So obviously, I love this guy. Super aggressive grappler, got decent power, as we know. We saw him knock out Dariush for Vola. His issue is his defense. He's just a reckless guy. He'll get reversed out of dominant positions on the ground just trying to do damage or hunt a submission. He'll get caught on the feet not moving his head and just winging punches. So his aggression is his strong suit, but it's also his downfall. As far as picking this one, I'm taking the younger, more durable, more well-rounded Benoit Saint-Denis. I think Hooker could hurt him and catch him on the feet. I think it's more likely that Saint-Denis hurts Hooker on the feet or takes him down and does good work on the ground. I just have a hard time going against Saint-Denis in this spot with his momentum. He feels like a guy who's putting it together. And although I did say I thought Dan Hooker's grappling was less of a weak point than it was before, this is a strong grappler against a guy who isn't a very strong defensive grappler. So him getting on top, doing damage, or getting a submission is possible. He's done he's gotten on top of guys as high a level as Dustin Poirier and Mauricio Ruffy, who I don't think is a very bad defensive grappler. We'll talk about him in just a minute. So yeah, the pick here is Benoit Saint-Denis, my guy to get it done again. I'll go with a TKO, whether it's on the ground and pound. I think Hooker's a decently tough guy to submit, even though Sarukian got it done last time out. So I'll say Benoit Saint-Denis by knockout. Next up, another one at lightweight between Rafael Fiziev and Mauricio Ruffy, a pair of strikers. Fiziev, a Muay Thai style guy who is coming off his first win in a long time as he beat Ignacio Bahamondes in an impressive decision win. Before that, he had lost the pair of fights to Justin Gaethje and had his knee injury against Mateusz Gamrot that kept him sidelined for a while. But I thought the Bahamondes fight was a good return to form. He mixed in the grappling even a little bit, which was a good wrinkle. Didn't really get much control time, ground and pound or anything with it, but it's a nice wrinkle, and he does his nice three-piece combos. His cardio looked good, which had been inconsistent in the past. On the other side, Ruffy comes in off his first UFC loss to Benoit Saint-Denis, where he really struggled with the pressure, just the constant in-your-face of Saint-Denis, which a lot of guys struggle with. His grappling, he did get a couple reversals, but always lost the position and was eventually submitted, so it didn't look great in that department. But he's a dangerous knockout artist. I mean, we've seen he's got the 3 knockouts in the UFC already. 2 knockouts in the UFC already. He has the Jamie Mullarkey knockout and the spinning heel kick. The long top fight went to decision, but he had a couple highlights in there. Overall, I'm going to go with Fiziev here. I just think he's going to have a little bit higher volume. I see Ruffy throwing these one shots, and I see Fiziev throwing these nice 3-piece combos. If his cardio holds up, I think he's just going to be the higher output guy, and Ruffy's going to be relying on a big moment to steal rounds. And I don't know if you can consistently do that against a guy as defensively responsible and durable as Fiziev. So I'll take Fiziev to win a decision here. Next up, we'll go to the heavyweights as Tai Tuivasa makes his return here against the tall finisher Tallison Teixeira. Tuivasa's dangerous. I mean, he's got the strong low kicks, has these big highlight knockouts against guys like Greg Hardy and Derek Lewis on his record. But the reality is he's lost 5 straight. He's coming off a long layoff where he just took a break from the sport. Appeared to not be training at all. Looked very out of shape. So you got to question where his head's at. Does he have more than a puncher's chance? I mean, he did show some decent low kicks against Alexander Volkov. But really, other than that, he hasn't shown many signs of life over the past couple years inside the octagon. Teixeira, meanwhile, is unproven. But we know he's dangerous. He absolutely smoked Justin Tafa in his debut and his first time fighting on a pay-per-view in Australia. He's coming off the knockout loss to Derek Lewis, which was kind of a weird stoppage, just kind of a wild exchange. Derek Lewis has knocked out a lot of guys. I still think he's dangerous, obviously tall for the division, so the length can give guys trouble. It's hard for me to pick Tuivasa here, so I'm going to take Teixeira. I'm going to take him to get a first-round knockout here. I think he's that dangerous. I think he can hurt Tuivasa. I don't know how Tuivasa is going to respond to being hurt after being out for so long, and I don't know where his head's at. So give me the young, hungry, motivated Tallison Teixeira to go out and get another first-round knockout win here. Back to the lightweights. This fast-rising prospect, Quillan Salkilld, takes on short notice replacement Jamie Mullarkey in an Aussie versus Aussie matchup down under. Salkilld burst onto the scene last year with a 3-0 start to his UFC career, including 2 first-round knockouts over Anshul Jubli and Nasrat Haqparast, and also a hard-fought decision over Yanel Ashmouz. I think those hard-fought battles are always good for prospects, so I don't really mind that. He showed a bit of well-roundedness, shooting takedowns in that and eating some big shots, so showed his durability and ability to handle adversity. So I like Quillan Salkilld. I think he warrants the hype of a prospect that he's getting. A lot of people saying he's a future ranked guy, maybe even future top 5. I agree with that. Jimmy Mullarkey on the other side, he's been around. He's a solid kickboxer, stays on the outside, uses decent boxing. His problem's been his defense and his durability, but knocked out 3 times in his last 5 fights. It's just very questionable. We saw Mauricio Ruffy handle him quite easily. Nasrat Haqparast took him out in the first round. It's just kind of a thing. If you're a solid fighter, you're going to be able to finish Jamie Mullarkey. with that, I'm not going to spend too much time breaking this one down. I think Quillan Salkilld gets another finish here, especially with Mullarkey coming in on short notice. It's a good matchup for him to get his striking going. I don't think either of them could have much grappling success here. I think they're probably give a slight edge to Salkilld there, but I think they're on the same level there. I think it'll be a striking match, and I think Salkilld will find another finish, whether it's in the first round or not. I don't know if I'd put that kind of expectation on him. Mullarkey can be kind of tricky, especially on short notice, so I'll just say Salkilld by KO if I had to say around second round. Next up, the light heavyweights as Junior Tafa squares off with Billy Elekana. Junior Tafa is a powerful kickboxer who's moved down from heavyweight, and he had power at heavyweight. We saw him wobble Muhammad Usman, who just got suspended. We saw him take out Parker Porter in just over a minute. We saw him move down and take out Sean Sheriff in that slop fest where they were both just kind of gassed out. His problem's been obvious. It's been the grappling. If you've been able to get on top of him, he's had a hard time consistently getting up, and there have been guys who've been able to stick to him like glue, like Tuco Tuckus. Just kept taking him down, wore him out, he gassed out. His gas tank's questionable, his grappling's questionable, especially when you get on top. But I don't know that his takedown defense is quite as bad as a lot of people have been saying. Against Muhammad Usman, he actually did pretty well to defend the first few shots. Just when Muhammad Usman got on top, he really struggled to get up. Same thing with Tuco Tuckus. It wasn't just an immediate takedown. I don't think he's completely helpless in the defense department. He just struggles in the clinch to separate and then get his striking going while defending the grappling. On the other side, Billy Elekana comes in on back-to-back wins after a weird debut where he had the back of Bogdan Guskov and then completely gassed out. But yeah, he won the slow-paced kickboxing match with Ibo Aslan where not much happened, but he outworked him, so he got the win. And then he's coming in off that first-round finish over Kevin Christian where he caught him with the hook and then grabbed the neck. You know, I have a hard time getting a read on him. I don't really know what level he is. I have a hard time saying he's a good grappler because he held the back of Bogdan Guskov and completely gassed out as a result and then got caught in a submission twice pretty much. He got submitted after the bell and then submitted again in the second round. So yeah, at these odds, I got to take Junior Tafa. I'm not sure that Billy Elekana can go in there and just take him down and submit him or rinse and repeat, take him down. I don't know that he has the gas tank or the style to do that. I think he's going to have to stand in front of Junior Tafa for a while. So at this price tag, I'll take the power of Junior Tafa to land against a guy like Billy Elekana, who's very unproven. I haven't really seen much from Elekana to prove that he should be this level of favorite against a guy as dangerous as Tafa. So these odds, give me Tafa. Let's make him my underdog best bet of the week. Plus 200, plus 210-ish range. Give me Junior Tafa to get a first-round knockout win. Next up, we got the middleweights as a newcomer and Cam Rowston looks to pass the Cody Brundage test. Rowston comes in on a 5-fight win streak, having gotten 2 submissions, a decision, and then got the knockout win on Contender Series and a knockout in his debut over a solid vet Andre Petrosky. He's tall for the weight, comes out of city kickboxing. I like this guy. He's a solid finisher on the ground and on the feet. So, you know, this guy poses threats wherever he goes. I think, and his height, his length poses problems for people too. On the other side, we know Cody Brundage, solid wrestler, decent pop in his hands. He got the knockout over Julian Marquez. You know, questionable heart, some questionable fight IQ going for the submission against guys like Adolfo Vieira. He's been submitted in fights like against Adolfo Vieira, Bo Nickel. Kind of just been fed to prospects and made weird fights of it with things like DQs of Jacob Malkoun and overturned technical decisions against Mansour Abdul Malik. Yeah, overall, I look at this one. I think Cam Rowston's going to get another finish here. I'll take him by submission. I think if Cody Brundage shoots in, Rowston can find the neck or find something weird on the ground. We haven't seen him get one in a while, so I think there might be some value there. Yeah, give me Cam Rowston by second or third round submission in this one. And another one at middleweight. In the I Beat Cam Rowston Bowl, we have Jacob Malkoun taking on Torrez Finney. We know Malkoun teammate of Robert Whittaker, the very strong wrestler. He's been out for a while with a herniated disc, but we'll get to that in a sec. As I said, strong wrestler. He sticks to guys like glue when he's on top. He's very good at using these clinch positions to drag guys down, wear them down, and just stay in complete control on the ground. Once he's on top, he's very hard to reverse. We saw him get these top positions against a top 5 guy in Brendan Allen and hold him down. We've seen him dominate from top position against Cody Brundage, even though that fight ended in a weird way. He's got solid boxing too. He can, he can box, although his durability is a little questionable. We saw him take the quick finish loss to Phil Hawes. The back injury is a little... It gives me a lot of hesitance when it comes to picking him, just because he's so wrestling heavy. I don't know how much he's been training. I don't know how recovered he is. Are we getting a better version? Are we getting a regressed Jacob Malkoun? We don't really know. On the other side, we have Torrez Finney. Talk about another wrestler who sticks to you like glue. What we saw in his debut didn't do much damage at all to Robert Valentine, but was able to get on top repeatedly. He's also the most experienced Contender Series fighter of all time, with 3 wins on there: the knockout, the submission, and the decision. One of those over Cam Rowston. So, he's shown he can out-wrestle solid guys like Rowston, Valentine, but he struggles with really doing damage. He's not going to pose much of a finishing threat. Maybe he's not going to win any 10-8 rounds against guys at this level, at least. So, in the end, I'm going to take Malkoun, because even if I don't know what I'm getting with the back, if I'm getting the old Malkoun, which I expect I am, because he's taken this long layoff, I'm assuming he's been back to training for a while and he's comfortable there, I think he can handle Torrez Finney, force some boxing where I think he'll have a clear advantage, and if he wants, he can even get some top time. He's tough to get off, even for a strong guy like Torrez Finney. But this one's really tough to pick. They're pretty similar fighters. I'm just leaning Malkoun because of the boxing, despite his injury. Not a very strong read here. And next up, one at welterweight that we were supposed to see last September, as Jonathan Micallef takes on Oban, the Welsh gangster, Elliott. Micallef came in, and I think he surprised a lot of people with his debut, as I and many others thought he was more of a grappler, coming in off 2 submission wins, having shown a dangerous ground game on the regional scene. And then he kickboxed with Kevin Josette, a known kickboxer, for 3 rounds, and outstruck him the whole time, which I was pretty impressed. It was a surprising change-up of style. It showed he's a well-rounded guy, and it showed he's a sharp kickboxer. It was a good debut. On the other side, Oban Elliott comes in off a tough loss where he was just out-wrestled for 3 rounds, kind of dominated by Ko. Before that, he had shown some solid boxing. He'd been in some weird back-and-forth fights. The Basil Hafez knockout was really nice. The Val Woodburn fight was weird. Almost got knocked out on Contender Series. I'm taking Micallef in this one. I think he's just the better fighter wherever the fight goes. I think if Oban Elliott wants to strike with him, he's the longer, sharper, higher volume guy. Oban probably more powerful, maybe the better wrestler, but I think Micallef is more dangerous on the ground, trickier to deal with, so if he goes down there, he'll have to be careful. Overall, yeah, I'm going to pick Micallef. I'll say he takes a decision win here. And in the first fight of the night, we've got alums from The Ultimate Fighter and Road to UFC squaring off as Ofli takes on Yizha. Ofli's a solid grappler with good submission threat. Got a couple good wins in the house, including Nathan Fletcher, to make it all the way to the finale against Myron Santos. He's coming off his first UFC submission, where he got the first round win over a solid vet in Ricardo Ramos. Although the Myron Santos fight kind of showed what happens when you stuff his takedowns and have some power on the feet. You can tee off on him, started landing the hard shots, and eventually put him to sleep. Yizha, on the other side, got a really tough first fight in the UFC against Gabe Santos, and swung, showed some decent moments against him on the feet, but overall was just overwhelmed. Gabe Santos is a really tough fight, especially for your debut, so I'm not going to hold that against him too much. Then in his next fight against Weston Wilson, knocks him out in less than a minute. You can say, oh, it's just Weston Wilson. Lots of guys have knocked him out, but he treated him like you're supposed to. So I thought he looked pretty good there. At the end of the day in this one, I'm going to take Yizha. I think the game plan against Ofli has to be just defend the takedowns. I think Yizha can do that. I think he's going to land the harder shots and eventually find a finish in the second or third round. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Quick recap of my official bets. We have Diego Lopes by KO TKO at plus 350, as well as Junior Tafa moneyline at plus 205. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave me a comment telling me what to do better and what your best picks are. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram in case I add any other bets later in the week. Do that sometimes. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you next time.